everybody, this is Cheri at djsundry.blogspot.com, and today I have kind of a different post for you. I have a post that actually you will get the best effect of it if you end up going over to my blog. I am going to show you a bonus little tip, which is really the only reason I'm even doing a video on this post, because today is more of what I call on my blog a reflections post. Now I am doing a project with that post, and we'll get to that in a minute, but you will see the full effect of that again if you go to the blog, and you'll understand what I'm talking about. So at the beginning of this, I told you when I first made the announcement that we were doing 14 days of posts, that you were going to be seeing all sorts of posts. There would be Valentine's, there's going to be some stick pins, some ATCs, there's some bags, you've already seen those. Well, today's post is actually a bulletin board. I redo the bulletin boards at my church, and I decided to do the bulletin board when talking with my pastor's wife with a theme, and I can't remember off the top of my head because I haven't finished it yet, but it's the 10 ways to love or something like that. And it was a post that was found that has 10 different things to know about love, and it was really good. So that's what the theme of my bulletin board is. I have pulled out my K & Company paper. Now I'm kind of taping these out of order, so some of this may seem a little bit redundant because I'm not sure when I tape them which ones you'll see first. But this one is, this paper I believe is still available. Check your local scrapbooking stores. I actually bought it last year because I wasn't wanting to buy a lot of products for this 12 or 14 days. But I think I saw it when I was in my Michaels. I'm not sure though. But any paper will work. And what I'm doing is, the town that I live in doesn't have a teacher supply store. I live in a smaller town. And so to get to the teacher supply store to buy borders and stuff for a bulletin board, I have to drive about 45 minutes to an hour to the closest one. So when we were talking about it, I said, do you know of anybody that's going into the city? And she said, no. And I said, well, and she said, well, what if you just put hearts all around instead of buying a border? And I thought that's a great idea. So in this bag, I have right around or just over 100 hearts all ready to use as a border that I've cut out of here. I cut these hearts at 2.5 inches. And again, I'm using my Art Philosophy cartridge. I'm using the heart on page 26, and I cut that at 2.5 inches. So I have a bunch of those. And then I have these hearts are going to these are going to be the hearts that have my sayings. Now, I was thinking about that, and I thought they're not going to be able to read what I want it to say if I handwrite it. And I thought, well, it's not very fun if I just put strips of paper. So I thought what I would do is I would cut out a light colored heart, and this is just some pink that I had from my stash, and I'll center it over. And then we still have the designer paper, which is pretty, but then they have a base that I can write out the things that I want on the bulletin board. And I thought that's really cool, but look at all of that wasted heart. Look at that. So the bonus for today is a Cricut feature that I'm going to show you how I did this. Now, the first thing that I want you to know is I cut out my heart at 6 inches using the same Art Philosophy cartridge. So now we're going to move over to the Cricut. I cut these are just 5-inch hearts to go over the top. And so now we're going to move over to the Cricut, and I'm going to show you how I cut out the center, and it does two things. First of all, now I have 10 bonus hearts that I can use on another project, which you'll probably see sometime during these 14 posts. So I have the 14 bonus hearts, and no one's going to see the back, so I saved myself a little bit of paper by being that much ahead on a second project, or probably multiple projects. So let's move over to the Cricut. Okay, the lighting is not all that good over by my Cricut as far as for videoing, so bear with me. But I have my Cricut mat set all up. Now, with this particular paper, you need to be sure that you set the mat up the way your Cricut cuts. For instance, I know that for the Art Philosophy, for the Art Philosophy and for my Cricut Expression that I have, it's going to cut across this way. So I needed to be sure that the paper is running across that way. I know my Imagine, it would cut I would have flipped it and gone this way and it would have cut across this way. I don't have an E2, so I'm not sure how it cuts, but just be sure that you set your paper up correctly. Make those practice cuts so you know exactly how you're going to do it. So I have it all set up. I have my Cricut Art Philosophy cartridge in. I have it set to cut at 6 inches. I'm going to hit shift and find my heart, which is over here, and I'm going to cut it at 6 inches. Okay, so that was pretty simple. Now, I made some of these at 4 inches, but you have to be more careful at 4 inches, so I thought I'm just going to make it 3 3/4 so that I'm sure that if I'm off a little bit, it doesn't matter, because I am not taking this out of the Cricut. I'm not remeasuring it. What we're going to do is we're going to use our side buttons over here to move our mat. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move it, and I went too far, until I come right at the tip of the heart. Now I'm going to move the blade down so I can see pretty much where I am, and you know, the V at the top of the heart. And then I'm going to continue going straight down until I'm about halfway from the point of the heart here to the point of the heart here. I think I need to go just a little bit more. Okay? So now I've got my Cricut blade right in the middle of the heart, and this is where the design features of the expression come in really handy. Now I don't know how to do it on another machine, but this is how you do it on the expression. You come over here to your special keys and you hit center point. Okay, now I'm going to move my size and I'm going to scroll down to 3 3/4, and then I'm going to hit repeat last, and that will go back to that heart because that's the last thing I cut, and I'm going to hit cut. Now, based on where my camera's placed, I may end up hitting the tripod with the mat, so bear with me here for a second. I'm going to hit unload mat. And I'm just going to turn off the Cricut, and here's my mat. Now I'm going to just remove the paper, which of course I'm saving my paper too, and I have, you see my heart, and when I remove the heart, the center is cut out, and actually that's one of the best ones I lined up. So now I'll be able to go back with my blank piece and put it over the side, and you've got 2 for 1. So that's how you do it. It does take a little bit of watching closely to make sure you get things lined up, but that feature on your Cricut is valuable for other things as well. You know, if you have some text and you want to cut a heart around the text, you find the center of your text and then the size of your heart or whatever you want to cut, and then you cut it. So now I have a 3 3/4 inch heart to use on some project, and if I don't use it for Valentine's Day, it's a heart. I can use it for any project somewhere. And I have this heart to go on as well. Now, be sure to head over to djsundry.blogspot.com so that you can see the finished project that has the whole bulletin board put together. So thanks so much for stopping by today, and remember to take some time to enjoy the little things. And don't forget to love somebody today. Bye.